This week, continuing our celebration of housing's early release, we've got some Horde houses to get those creative juices flowing. And we're going to start briefly with 3 outside-only houses to really show off what these Horde plots can do. First up is one that demonstrates something you can only do on the Horde houses. This is Ardastar on plot number 50. And as we come up this ramp to the side here, made out of fences on their side, beautiful idea by the way, only costs 1 out of your decor budget, we can see this magnificent celebratory area at the top. This is the type of thing you cannot do on an Alliance house. All of the different options to create these flat areas at the top are Horde exclusive. I love how every one of these areas has a different theme, a different purpose or use. There's a place to sit down and eat, there's a place to cook some food, there's a place to just sit down and relax. We've even got a telescope to look at the stars when it turns night. And in the center, we've got this glorious hot tub, letting you kick back and enjoy the tropical island paradise that is the Horde neighborhood. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you would like to be featured in a future showcase, there is a Pank Showcase Submissions Discord linked down below. From rooftop paradise to the journey that started it all, this is Excelso's Hobbit Hole on plot number 48. There is so much to love about this home. Not only has it expertly captured the Hobbit home feel, but it's also managed to do so while still blending into the plot around it. In fact, this is the type of thing you can only really do in the Horde neighborhood. The Horde neighborhood's mix of greens and browns blends perfectly with the grass and dirt of the Hobbit hole. You can see some excellent shaping work with the different platforms on the sides here, and you can even see that they have used a stool to make the big round knob in the middle. And if you want to see how they made it, I will have a link to their tutorial down below. Like Frodo, let's travel from Bag End to Rivendell with Illisra on plot number 15. And right away, I'm not sure what's more impressive, the fact that they have completely transformed their Horde house into this darker cabin-like feel, or the fact that there is a working walkway from the home to an actual treetop viewing area. I love how on the ground floor, it doesn't feel as though this home has been modified. It looks like this is the home. They've done such an exceptional job incorporating these carts into the building to create the shape that they're going for. But more than that, Illisra has thought about how you walk around this plot, the way that the plot flows as you move through it. Coming up the first ramp, we get to see something extremely cool that you can only get because of how Illisra made their plot. This window that looks as though it looks inside. Because Illisra has custom made the entire outside of the house, they get to take advantage of the fact that the windows on the cart items are working windows. Which also means that yes, this is the very first time we have ever seen a window that looks in. I am a huge fan of how they've used this trellis gateway here as a platform where you can stop in the middle of the walkway to admire how magnificent the house is. Following the ramp all the way to the top, we get this tranquil resting area. The gazebo gives pure bliss as you lay there surrounded by the sounds and the sights of the nature around you in this Ashenvale area of the Horde neighborhood. And as if that isn't enough, we've also got another resting area to the side here that has a once-in-a-lifetime view of the surrounding area. I mean, what a gorgeous... Could you imagine if this was the view you actually had from your treetop balcony? I mean, what eldritch god do I have to pray to get a house like this one? Illisra would also like to shout out their guild, the Cozy Keep. And I gotta say, I have seen a couple of their homes, and these guys are amazing. The Cozy Keep might be one of the most stacked builder guilds I have ever seen. Expect to see a whole lot of them on these lists moving forward. But what if you've got faction pride that's too much to hide? This is MauPow's Horde Mansion on plot number 36. We'll see what makes this a mansion fit for a war chief when we get inside, but for now, let's appreciate what we've got going out here. To the right, there is this planning area set up, where you can imagine planning your next conquest while enjoying the view. To the right of a home, we've got a wyvern post just waiting for those wyverns to be added. And to the left, we've got a tranquil nature area using exclusively the Horde-themed plants to fill it out, complete with a giant Tauren mill. And on the inside, the first thing you see is this huge, imposing stairwell One of my favorite things about this home is how creative they were with the use of different items to make sure that the Horde theme is kept throughout the entire home. We'll talk about that in more detail as we get to different pieces throughout, but we're going to start by going to the right here, where we can see a kitchen. And it's actually coming past the kitchen where we can see a dining room fit for a war chief. I love the two-tiered layering that they've done with this room. This small step up adds so much to the atmosphere of the room, and it helps the flow. It helps create this walkway that allows you to go through the next room while keeping the dining area somewhat separate. So much care and attention to detail was used to make sure that everything feels Horde. Even the cutting board in this kitchen pantry area has a Horde axe there. The shelves on the wall are furnished with Horde-themed items. Even the crates and the barrels that you see all around the sides are all Horde-themed crates and barrels. And something even more impressive, if we come out of this kitchen area here, we can see that we're met with this wall, this sort of hallway area. And that's because that giant stairway from the beginning isn't just for looks, it's functional. MauPow has actually managed to make the space behind the staircase a usable space. On the other side of the home, we've got a room dedicated to that shaman aesthetic. I'm loving the shaman ball of lava just waiting to be harnessed, and at the other end, I love how this nature area blends into a bit of a reading library nook. But of course, no war chief is complete without their throne, and what a throne it is. The banner work, the weapons to the sides, the different fires burning, even how the room itself frames the throne, all of it is so awe-inspiring. And while you sit on the throne, you can see your piles of loot to either side. Now coming up these threatening stairs, we can see a little more of that detail work that helps this plot stand out. The handrails are actually the Horde trellises on their side. The way that they've used the spike barrel item upside down to create these attachment points for the iron bars. Those barrels actually serve a dual purpose because the iron bar comes from the Ironforge fence item, which usually has an Ironforge branded ending, which means that MauPow has been able to take an Ironforge item and fully convert it to the Horde. On the right side of the staircase, we have this grand bedroom. This is another example of MauPow's excellent layering work, this small step up into the seating area with another small step up into the bedroom. Both fantastic, and it does so much to not only improve the flow of the area, but also to make the bedroom itself feel more private. This is actually a home without any doors at all, and yet MauPow has done such a good job with their mastery of the space that you don't feel like anything is missing. And finally, on the other side of the staircase, we get this balcony that allows us to look down into the shamanistic room from before, as well as look down an audience at the war chief. Now, I'm Alliance through and through, but this home makes even me want to say, for the Horde. But of course, a war chief is only one man, and most of us have got an alt or 10 in our back pocket. What are we to do with our army of alts? Well, this is a home for your entire warband. This is Blasco on plot number 21. And yes, this is a custom train that Blasco has made themselves. I love how it has an entryway into that rock over there, as well as an entryway into the home, as though this is ferrying different supplies between, say, a mine and the home itself. There's even some fun attention to detail. This final cart is overturned, and we can see the different items in the middle of their falling animation, which is really cool to see. I haven't seen anything like this before, and yet not only is this a custom train, but every single train car has a whole bunch of different items in it. It's almost as though these are the spoils that all of Blasco's different alts have managed to get, and they're all being shipped to this home now that housing is here. And on the inside, Blasco said they wanted a home that fit both the Horde and Alliance, a home where all of their alts could stay. And we can see that right away with this table at the beginning that has both Horde and Alliance items on it. But one thing I really like is the custom board game on the side here. It kind of looks like checkers in a way, but I love that you can clearly tell that there is a Horde side and an Alliance side. Through the door on the left here, we've got a bathroom with a completely unique custom toilet that we hadn't seen before, this one made out of coffins and a rug. Now, as we go throughout the rest of this house, I want you to try to figure out the floor plan. because Blasco has actually done something quite clever with the layout of their house here. Now, past the L bend here, we get one of our first rooms that shows these different themes in competition. At first glance, this is a nature room with a night elf aesthetic. We've got a fountain flowing on the right, the plants everywhere, and stairways that go up and through the tree. But as we look past this architect's table where it looks like something is in construction, we can see that there's a path upward, yet also a path downward. And if we were to go down, we can see a goblin-themed secret hidden lab. You can imagine that all of Blasco's different alts are all getting up to their own mischievous devices in this home. Down here, the goblins, the engineers, the tinkerers are clearly having a field day. But if instead we take these bench stairways up, we can see that it actually wraps around and allows us to exit out the other side of the room. We're now in an L above the L where we were before. This time it is undead themed with cobwebs and these fell lanterns all about, but it actually leads to a nice common area. I love that no matter where you look, there's a mix of Horde and Alliance items, these reds and blues all throughout all of the different decor. Through the door on the right, we have a Horde-themed room, fully furnished, of course, and the door on the left is an Alliance-themed room. Now, while we've been in here, you've probably been under the impression that we are in a small square room. But then we enter this side area, and our whole understanding of this house is thrown upside down. Because here we can see stairways that go up, which means that this is not a square room. This is actually an empty stairwell room, just like the one we were in before. At the top, we get to see all of the riches hidden behind this gate, as though it is being kept safe not just from outsiders, but from maybe some of the more mischievous members of the warband itself. And we get one final bedroom that is, of course, elven themed. Coming down from the elven bedroom, we can see one more stairwell room that we can take down to the bottom. And down here we have a lovely dining area. I love when the stairwell rooms get to be used to their fullest potential, and there is such a homey vibe from the way that this place is lit and how all of the different furniture is laid out. But here's where the house pulls off that neat trick I was telling you about. If we come through this door right here, we can see that we actually end up back in the original living room. This clever use of floor space actually has a huge advantage. Laying it out this way means that no matter where you are in the house, you are only ever one room away from the entrance, so that no matter where you are, you can quickly and easily head out on your adventures. But let's say you want a home for many people, but instead of alts, you're entertaining guests. This is Kenud on plot number 50. Now, while the outside is still a work in progress, it does let us take a good look at the midnight pre-order items if that's something that you've been considering. Now, the inside is in a whole league of its own. This is incredible. The first room here is not only 4 separate nature corners, but each one actually has a different theme, all unique to itself. There are different plants incorporated into each one, different trees, different trinkets, and other decor items added in to accentuate it. One of the corners even has a hidden little treehouse area where you can imagine people coming away from the party to have a conversation. What party, you might ask? Well, that's when we get to the main room here, and look at that. This is such a cool dining area. I love that all of the food is laid out, that there's different types of seating for different people. We've got the bars, we've got actual table seating. There is so much to talk about with this room, and we will get to all of it. To our right is a fully featured stage. This is a stage that allows you to come forward, that has those spotlights we've seen before, and as we'll see when we get on the stage, even has its own unique lighting underneath. I like how some of the seating is different from the others. Yes, we have these chairs here for people to watch, but we've also got these much more furnished chairs on the side, as though these are either more prestigious patrons or maybe just the lucky few who got here first. Behind the bar, we have yet another thing we've never seen before. They've made custom bar taps. This might be one of the first bars we've ever seen actually think about the tools a bartender has at their disposal. I love seeing the cups there and the different options for the different beers. To one side, we have a pantry that I imagine is full of the different drinks that will be served here, and on the other side, we've got a bathroom, complete, of course, with another custom toilet that is unlike anything we had seen before. Now, as we come past the immaculate dining area, let's take a closer look at the stage. Through this door, we've got the green room, a place to get ready for the performance. They've even got a bath on the side, which is great to see. And as we go through the curtains onto the stage, we can see that not only do we have the spotlights at the top, but we have these orange lights at the bottom. Whether intended as stage lights or as teleprompters, either way, it's a great attention to detail. And as if all of that wasn't enough, on the other side, we've got this immaculate library. It's so cool to see different study areas for different types of people. There's not only different desks, but even different lighting, different glows to these areas, as though people have been studying different subjects, maybe different areas of magic. As we look past this cozy seating area, we can actually see that there are some stairs up. And when we go up, we get to my personal favorite of this plot, this cute, cozy attic at the top. You can imagine how amazing it would be to take a book, come up to the attic, and just lay back and read in peaceful quiet. Excellent work from Kenud. And now we are in for a treat, because this is the legendary Custodian on Plot 0. And if you remember their one-of-a-kind house on the PTR, get ready, because Custodian has turned everything up to 11. Complete, of course, with another custom tour from Custodian themselves. And we start at this wonderful gnomish engineering next to a trash pile that Custodian describes as powering the whole home with the wonders of electricity. Specifically, Custodian says, by attaching these kites to the electric operation, which means yes, this house is kite-powered. This power is then piped into the string lights all throughout the outside of the property, which, in the words of Custodian themselves, which what does done did lead straight into the home's fully furnished electrified interior. Excuse the laundry, Custodian says, it is laundry day, of course. And then we enter through this pretty cool custom goblin door. A door, of course, that Custodian invented themselves. They call it the Door 2.0, using advanced goblin engineering to get you from one place to another, all while only turning a single knob. Inside, we see the familiar small goblin starting room from the first home, but with a couple of upgrades. Custodian describes this as a fully functional and safe wooden electric stove, currently being used to make a green soup. A nutritious soup, Custodian says, made of green things and also onions. Nobody tell Custodian that there are green onions, okay? If you remember Custodian's original tour on the PTR, you'll know that this painting has quite the interesting origin story. And here we can see that Custodian has now chosen to mount the head of the creature they crashed into so that it is always looking at the painting that was made. Custodian said they're here not just to look at the painting, but also to stare at the mask of Bwamsamdi haunting across from him, for contemplating mortality and such. By the bed area, we can see that Custodian is able to sit at the edge of the bed by clipping a chair inside of it, a lovely addition to any home. And that Horde banner on the wall there, Custodian says is from their tour in Arathi, where they worked as a janitor in the blacksmith, which is just amazing lore for this goblin. Those famous unicorn figures from the first tour make an appearance here. Custodian has moved them front and center so that, in their words, more people may be jealous of them. Plus, Custodian says that if you try to take them, you won't like what happens to you. Believe it or not, that kite in the corner is a fully operational, weaponized Tauren Thunderbird, ready to provide security for this home. Through the tarp into the next room, we can see Custodian's newly renovated bathroom. That hilarious goblin toilet from before is gone, but with good reason. The previous toilet, Custodian says, had some technical issues, so they've simplified the design into something more primitive, something more human, so that it may be used. Now, through the last tarp in the back here, we can see a completely new renovation to Custodian's home, this underground cavern. Up the first couple of steps, Custodian has some rare, powerful, and very valuable artifacts in some boxes on the side, ones that Custodian swears they imported legally from Zandalar and Pandaria. Coming up the ramp just a bit more, we get a bit of a common area. To the side here, we can see a plethora of paintings like the ones that Custodian made before. In fact, these aren't just copies, these are limited edition, valuable reprints of the legendary painting, The Place in Which the Shoveltusk Lost His Way. I hear from a pretty trustworthy source that these paintings are going to be extremely valuable, so make sure to get them while you can. I myself made quite the investment. Custodian says not to worry about the casket to the side because that just comes from the neighbors and we don't have to worry about them. To the right of the paintings, we have the untested emergency exit for emergency use only, to be used in an emergency to exit in case of an emergency. Coming through this last bit of tarp here, we end up in Custodian's attic, which has this really cool battle arena at the top. Custodian calls it the Custodian Attic Arena, and it's where Custodian will be hosting wrestling matches with the world's most famous gladiators all in their own attic. And behind the attic arena is the backup generator. Similar to the kite power at the beginning, this is also a primitive, gnomish generator that Custodian has geniusly reverse engineered so that this generator is able to generate electricity using only gasoline and electricity. Custodian says the gears are purely cosmetic, but much like flames on a car make it go faster, I think these gears allow it to generate more electricity per electricity. And now, Custodian says, it's time to introduce us to their neighbor. Custodian says their neighbor is a Forsaken with a penchant for the exquisite. An art collector type, Custodian says. An undead who's into blood elf architecture and all that type of regal whatever. In fact, quite embarrassing, the Forsaken neighbor doesn't even think that they're Forsaken. They think they're an actual blood elf. How embarrassing. Custodian describes how this Forsaken neighbor was showing off some of their paintings recently, and Custodian thought to themselves, "Self, we gotta get those. All surreptitiously like." So, being the goblin genius that they are, Custodian engineered an emergency entrance into the neighbor's home. And as you can see, this emergency entrance is extremely effective. Not only are we able to effectively and secretly enter their home without them knowing, but we've managed to improve the look of their home by getting rid of that boring old blood elf aesthetic and replacing it with true goblin engineering. There may be some structural damage, Custodian says, but I'm sure all of it'll buff out eventually. Now, believe it or not, Custodian's crazy neighbor is actually in litigation with them, as though Custodian has done anything wrong here. But Custodian let me know that all these legal troubles are going to be brushed under the rug in no time. Right next to the emergency entrance, we actually have a cute little guest room, complete, of course, with its own highly advanced, super-engineered toilet. And finally, Custodian introduces us to the very last room of the home, the actual, real, in-home theater. Custodian says it's a recent addition, but you would not know it looking at this. This looks so good! I love how they've not only got the spotlight here as the projector, but they've also put some windows hidden behind the white screen there to make it look like some of the glow is coming from the screen, which is exactly what we would expect to see from a projector-based theater. Custodian says they are so fortunate that they did not notice the link in their shower for so long because now they have this incredible self-excavated addition to their home. And in true Custodian fashion, the tour ends with Custodian noticing an oil leak in their outside kite generator and running off to get more supplies. Personally, I loved this tour, and it looks like I wasn't the only one. Hello, random Vulpera NPC, I'm glad you enjoyed this as well.